All right, welcome to the Lampcast Podcast, Episode 1. Not talking about the deleted actual Episode 1 that we don't talk about. We're here to talk about the albums we liked this year. Not the albums we didn't like this year, though, just the albums we liked, what we listened to, and how much fun we had over the year. All right, so actually you can talk about the albums you don't like. But anyways, we're going to start off by just talking about some albums we liked this year. Not our top 10s, but just some, what's the term?
Honorable mentions.
Well, and our top 10s.
Our top
it's not yet.
Our top 10s come after the honorable mentions.
Our top 10s come after the honorable mentions, yeah. Anyways, so Christian's going to take it away.
So, my honorable mentions are pretty sparse, because I honestly did not listen to a lot of music from this year. In terms of honorable mentions, these are just kind of artists that had a little bit of prevalence in my life. First up is Aaron Dillaway with the Gag Files. I didn't like the album, but it just had a funny little dude on it, and so I thought it was worth talking about. And then Mac DeMarco had a record that I thought was pretty intimate, even though Mac DeMarco doesn't really do too much for me. I thought it was kind of worth noting as like a nice kind of throwback to some of his earlier work. And Always had a song I liked this year.
Which one?
Not My Baby. I like that song a lot.
The whole album is good.
The whole album is good. It doesn't tickle my fancy too much.
That's because
it kind of loses me in the second half, to be honest.
Yeah. So those were my honorable mentions.
Nice. Ethan.
All right.
Let me grab my paper. I didn't have too many honorable mentions.
Ethan's super DIY, so he just does. He's still
Ethan's
holding on
the
to.
Hey, mine's on paper.
Yeah, right. All right, so I also really enjoyed Always, and Mac DeMarco. But what kind of held them back for me was that I didn't feel like they were super solid throughout, and even though they were progressing within them like in a self-contained way, I don't think they were pushing anything. I really like Jay-Z's new record, 444. Anthony, I think, said it best when he was like, it doesn't feel like a Jay-Z album, it feels like a Sean Carter album, and I thought the production was pretty killer. I really loved Shoo Shoo's album, Forget, but for some reason it didn't stick with me super hard. And this would have been my number 11, but Quale Chris's, what's it called? It's a long title.
I Love Being You.
I wish I could be you more often. Yeah, that was a great art rap, whatever you call it, abstract hip hop record that I found myself listening to continuously throughout the year.
Being You was great. I wish I could be you more often. That's a cool album.
Yeah.
All right. Oh man, I'm up. Okay. My list is kind of big because I didn't know what to put on the list.
Uh-huh.
So, Dada by B-Boys, You're Not As Blank As You Think by Sorority Noise, Hug of Thunder by Broken Social Scene, Pure Comedy by Father John Misty.
Whoa. That's an honorable mention?
Yeah.
Wow.
Tyler the Creator or Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator. That one backwards.
The Flower Boy himself.
This guy's whipping through my top 10 in his honorable mentions.
Dedicated to Bobby Jameson by
Oh my god, he's whipping through my top 10.
This is incredible, Harry. I'm actually in awe.
Harry's
by
a savage.
Brockhampton.
Wow.
Whoa!
Anti-Socialites by Always.
Okay.
Sketches of Brunswick East by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, but I mostly like that album because of Mild High Club. Precious Art by Roswell Kid. Sun Kids by Space Face. A tribute to Pet Sounds. I like that cover a lot by YYY. And Soft Sounds from Another Planet by Japanese Breakfast. I had to put a cover of Pet Sounds on there, sorry.
Wow.
Anyways, that's me.
That was
That was crazy, Harry.
Yeah, Harry. You struck us all down.
Oh my god.
Christ.
Harry, what other albums are there? Wow.
There's 10 great albums on this list.
Alright, well, I guess I'm up then. So, the top of my honorable mentions, I put Damn by Kendrick Lamar. It just didn't make my top 10. I also have Mac DeMarco, This Old Dog. Brand New's new album, Science Fiction, I thought was pretty good, but it wasn't. I think Ryan was talking to me, he said it wasn't as explosive as he would have liked it to be, and I agree.
Yeah, and then, you know.
Yeah, and then bad shit happened.
You know.
But, yeah.
Christian, are you playing Rising Storm right now?
No.
Wow. Alright.
Oh.
Power Plant by Girlpool. Street Sex, Rat Jacket, Perfume Genius's No Shape, Milo's new album, Who Told You to Think, Greatest Hits by Remo Drive, Crack Up by Fleet Foxes, The Dusk in Us by Converge, Lila's Wisdom by Rhapsody, Forever by Code Orange, and Sorority Noise with You're Not As Blank As You Think. That's
All right.
I thought Remo
That's
Drive
you,
would
Owen.
be in your top 10.
All right. Me, I have my honorable mentions: Apricot Princess by Rex Orange County,
Oh, nice.
Arca by Arca.
Ooh.
I also had Broken Social Scene on here. This Old Dog. Bjork was good.
Oh, I forgot about Bjork.
Well, Bjork was it's a good album. It's not definitely not my favorite of hers, so I put
I'm
an
not a
honorable
big
mentions.
Bjork guy, I don't know.
Moses Sumney is another one that I liked. Fleet Foxes, Big Crit, and Fever Ray, and Sampha,
Oh,
and Ariel Pink. Oh, and Ariel Pink and Girl Pool. Those are the ones.
Whoa, Girl Pool isn't in your top 10?
No, it didn't make it.
It's not an,
Wow.
And yeah.
I'm surprised
I just
Ariel
want to
Pink
throw
didn't make your
another
top 10.
honorable
Owen.
mention before we move to...
What's that,
I'm
Ryan?
surprised your Ariel Pink didn't make your top 10.
What made my top 10?
I said I'm surprised Ariel Pink did not make your top 10.
He's surprised
Oh.
Ariel Pink, yeah.
Man, I think
Yeah.
it's, I'd like to say...
I don't know. I liked it a lot, but didn't quite make my top 10.
Before we move
Yep.
too far past me, I'd also like to shout out Chelsea Wolf's new album. I forget what it's called, though. It was good.
Oh,
All right.
Ryan, you want to take it away?
Yes. So my honorable mentions are to start off with a couple metal records. Bell Witch's Mirror Reaper. That probably is my number 11, to be honest. And then Planning for Burial with Below the House. Uzni, a super underrated band with Portals into Futility. Converge with The Dusk in Us. And Code Orange with Forever. And then my other honorable mentions, Mac DeMarco. Alex Cameron's Forced Witness, Arca, Kendrick's Damn, Rhapsody, Lila's Wisdom, Sun Kill Moon, Common is Light and Love is Red Valleys of Blood, Algiers, The Underside of Power, Big Crit, Billy Woods, Known Unknowns, Jay-Z,
Oh, that was a really good record.
Jay-Z 444, and The Mountain Goats with Goths. Oh, and I said Christian
Nice.
Camaro, New Hampshire.
Oh, thanks, man.
Oh, nice. Hey, I
Hey,
think
it meant a lot
maybe
to me.
we should do like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, then 9, 9, 9, 9.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what we're doing.
That's what we did
Yeah.
last year.
Oh,
Also-
okay, I didn't know what the plan
Also, I
was.
forgot about the Planning for Burial album on my list. That is a good album.
I'd like to say how much I listened to Flower Boy this year.
Hey, can I just say,
All right.
I listened to Flower
So
All
we're
right, Christian, you want to start with
Oh
Road?
wait, sorry, I forgot to say Flower Boy is also an honorable mention.
whoa!
Whoa.
Boy.
Wow.
So good.
all right.
Uh,
Christian, kick it off with your number 10.
So number 10 was Power Plant by Girl Pool, a thoroughly enjoyable record that kind of starts as strongly as it ends, and doesn't really mess around. It's charismatic. It's pretty much Liquid Assets, and I don't see myself
Liquid
returning.
ass.
It doesn't strike me as something that is particularly memorable, or something that I will listen to, like 20 years down the road.
But it's
But,
your 10th favorite album.
It's good. I liked it. It's some catchy tunes on here. Very enjoyable. That's
Hey.
it.
Ethan.
My top 10, number 10 was also Girl Pool. I think I really loved when this album got like really kind of huge and explosive, and the percussion was super prominent, like in 1, 2, 3, and on the titular track Power Plant. What kind of held it back were some of the quieter, more meandering moments that I couldn't really get into as much, but I still thought it was a really solid record, and I would love to hear what they do in the future.
Sweet.
Harry.
Oh boy. Okay, so my number 10 was Algiers, The Underside of Power. I think for post-punk, this was kind of a weak year. What? Maybe I just wasn't listening to much post-punk. I don't know.
Did you listen to
I could be
Proto-Martyr,
wrong.
Harry?
What?
Did you listen to
Oh,
Proto-Martyr?
I didn't even listen to that. Oh, man.
Oh, it's wonderful. Well, we'll get into that later.
I'll check it out later. Albums I meant to listen to. Okay, but The Underside of Power, it's really creative. It's, I mean, it's just kind of hip-hop inspired post-punk. It's really freaking good. Also, the lead singer's kind of gospel-y voice is very intriguing. And it's just a solid album.
All right.
Moving on.
All right. Well, I guess I'm up. When I made this list originally, Damn was at 10, but then I remembered that Blade Runner came out this year, so I'm giving it to the Blade Runner 2049 original soundtrack because when I was sitting in that movie theater and I heard the synths just boom over me, like it was incredible. Just the music in that movie alone is enough to like win you over. But the music itself is so good. It's just ambient synths with some incredible bass, and it's got a little bit of like Frank Sinatra and stuff mixed in there, but that's not the original part. But it's a great soundtrack. I don't have too much else to say about it.
It's phenomenal. The movie's phenomenal. Everything's phenomenal.
Yes. Owen.
All right, so my number 10, I'm going to say Open Mike Eagle, Brick Body Kid Still Daydream. I really like the positivity on this album, and the he's always great with the one-liners, and he's just super charming. So
The dude's so clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Boundlessly clever.
yeah, so I think it's his best one yet.
Oh.
I feel like Ryan's list is going to be really eclectic.
We'll see. Number 10, I have
All right,
I
let's
have
hear it, Ryan.
I have Idols with Brutalism. It's just some hard-hitting punk music from the UK, and they got a lot of things to get off their chest, and they're pretty angry about them, and it just works. It's pretty much bangers from front to back. The last song tries to take a little bit of a softer edge, and it just doesn't work as well because it's not playing to their wheelhouse, which is these hard-hitting punk tunes. And yeah, saying the best way to scare a Tory is to read and get rich is awesome. And
Best way to scare.
and Date Night is one of the best.
It's a great line.
Date Night's one of the best bangers of the year.
Date night.
And yeah, that's all I got to say about it. I don't think it
I gotta say,
reinvented the wheel. I
Griffin
just think it's
Mother
great.
is the greatest thing on the planet.
Mother. Fucker.
Fucker.
Alright, Christian, 9.
That's okay.
Alright, number 9 for me was also the Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack, and I think
Yeah.
this speaks to the power that movie has. It was my favorite movie of the year, and it just kind of shows how impactful it was on me that it made it on 9 of my top 10 albums list. This album gets a lot of flack from people who are fans of Blade Runner for not being as good as the first movie, and I really don't think that you can recapture what was going on. Like obviously it's a shame that the person who was composing the Blade Runner soundtrack and was going to compose the Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack, some legal stuff happened and he was fired from the project.
But
And
even
it sucks that it happened, but like my man Hans Zimmer, he's killing it. Even though he writes some shit scores, like
Madagascar 2!
the guy,
He did not.
Yeah, he did.
dude,
did
he does a lot of
Madagascar
stuff.
too?
Yeah,
Yeah, he did
I mean,
Madagascar.
he's,
I thought Jay from Nirvana the band scored that, dude.
dude, he fucking did like Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Pharrell Williams.
Yeah,
But,
he did.
Even then, like, people complaining about it not being as good, the person who was originally scoring it was the person who did the score for Sicario, which is a great score, and it's a great movie. But it
Also,
was,
Hans Zimmer did Dunkirk this year.
you
That was a great
And
soundtrack.
Dunkirk had a crazy soundtrack.
You can't compare the new soundtrack to the old one because it's not made by Vangelis. It's not the same, and it wouldn't have been from the beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So Blade Runner 2049 makes it on this list, just kind of showing how powerful of a movie it was for me.
All right,
Alrighty.
Ethan, you're up.
Man, someone slithering around their mic.
It's Ethan.
Oh, that was me. All right, so my number 9 was Milo with his new record, Who Told You to Think, which I kind of knew it was going to wind up on my top 10 regardless of quality because I'm just a really huge sucker for his music and style. Even though I felt like this one fell short of his last project, So the Flies Don't Come, I felt like it brought up some interesting production quirks and some killer features to the record, even though I felt like it fell flat, especially in the center, and it at times, even for a Milo record, got a little too up its ass. Other than that, though, I really enjoyed listening to it, and it was one of my most played records of the year.
That's what killed it for
Hell
me.
yes.
It was so far up its own ass. It was just.
Oh my god, it
Yes,
gets
it
really
really
bad
was.
at some point.
Yeah,
The
Pokemon.
points where
Put
it's
your
not.
phone down. No,
Yeah.
no, put your phone down. Look your
Down.
woman
Look
in
your
the
woman in the
eye.
eye.
In the Pokemon
Yeah,
Go, in the Pokemon.
Yeah, but that's the thing. For every line that made me like roll my eyes, there was another that like made me laugh or made me like, that's really clever, and that's what kind of kept bringing me back.
In that,
I don't think
Magician's
it'll.
so good.
in that Posse
Magician's
track.
great. Oh, it's killer. I don't think it'll age as well as Flies though.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
I'm not sure about that.
So that's my piece.
All right, Harry.
Okay, so my number 9 was "Floating Now" by Hard Girls. I only discovered this album very late into the year, but it's just some
Did you discover it
banging
yesterday?
power pop. No, I told you guys to listen to it yesterday, but I've been listening to it for a few weeks. It's just really good. It's just banging power pop. I dig that. There's some really hard anthem-like tracks, and it just feels like what my dad used to listen to, but cooler. That's it.
Well, at my number 9, I have Sun Kill Moon's new album, As Common as Light as Love, and I don't know what I can say about this album. It's just,
It's 3 hours
it's just,
long.
that is my,
Hey, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes long. Okay.
It's actually
Oh,
I'm
not
sorry, I
even his new
apologize.
album anymore. He
yeah,
released
Yeah.
like 6 since then.
whatever. Whatever, Mark.
Gotta love the guy.
I listened to it once and have never touched it again.
That is my one complaint. It is very long, but it is Mark Kozlik doing what Mark Kozlik do best, and that is rambling. And it's great. His personality is what makes you come back.
All right.
Yep.
My number 9 is Jay-Z's 444.
Jay-Z's
I mean, this is a really great comeback album for him, and really some of his most, well, I'm not going to say some of his most pointed stuff, but his most pointed stuff in a long time is on this album. Love the singles, and the production is awesome, and a lot of heartfelt songs on here too. So it's a really great record.
Story of OJ is one of the best songs of the year.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, it's killer.
Still
dude.
haven't listened to that album because it's not on Spotify, and I haven't bothered to look it up on iTunes.
You should listen to it sometime, Harry. It's
Okay.
definitely worth the few bucks if you have to.
I'll bring out some time in my very busy day.
All right, Jacob.
Where's
Nope,
Ryan?
it's me.
Oh, all right, Ryan.
My number 9 is Primitive Man with Caustic. This album hit harder than any other metal record this year. They work in it. It's hard to, I guess you could call it a doom metal record at its base, but it's got elements of death metal and black metal, and it just takes all the crushing qualities of all of these and combines them all into this one experience. And not only that, but I feel like a lot of the time, doom metal can slide by on its aesthetic and slack on the songwriting. But some of like the discordant chords that they use on this album are clearly like very well thought out, and somebody very much knows what they're doing as far as songwriting goes. Just, I would give it the spot on this list just for the part on the song Sugar Hole where they go up by half steps, and I don't even know what chords they're playing on top of those half steps, but it's just nuts.
Yeah,
Like,
you showed me that.
yeah, their songwriting skill is very above par for a doom metal band. And if you're looking for a record that'll beat your head in, then check it out.
Cool. All right, Christian, you're up.
All right, my number 8 record is Goths by the Mountain Goats. I listened to a good amount of the Mountain Goats this year, and this record wasn't my favorite, but it just shows that John Darnell is a really killer and enigmatic songwriter that is really able to dabble in so many different fields and topics. This stuck out to me as just as someone who writes music about specific topics and people in history. It was a nice little roadmap about how to do it in a quality way. Some great anthemic songs on this, and especially for someone who doesn't necessarily like the music that he's singing about. It was a fun project. That's my number 8.
All right. My number 8 was Forced Witness by Alex Cameron. I really love that kind of cheesy 80s dance poppy sound that he was kind of pushing towards, that aesthetic anyway. And I think the character that he portrayed of this like
It's
sleazy,
awesome.
failed, washed up pop star who like tends to favor the kind of grimier sides of the internet was so funny
It's so
and
funny, dude.
like weirdly endearing. I thought the hook slapped, and I thought it had the ability to get like oddly sentimental when it needed to be. And I played it a lot this year and really dug it.
Harry.
All right, I'm up. I
Yeah.
keep flipping back to Discord and forgetting where I put this. So my number 8 is Rocket by Sandy Alex G. I really like this one because it's sort of a double album to me in the way that the first half is really kind of folky and sweet and nice, while the second half is more electronic and experimental. It's always good to see an artist just being able to pull off two kind of polar opposite shticks very well. Also, he's a Frank Ocean, one of those guys who works with Frank Ocean every once in a while. So, he's cool. He's cool. If you haven't, you've got to check it out. It's one of the internet's favorite albums right about now, but it's really, really good. All right, who's up?
It's me. All right, and my number 8 is Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator.
Nice.
I was never really like a huge Tyler, the Creator fan, and I hadn't listened to him much before Flower Boy. But listening to Flower Boy was so incredible. Like, I'd heard Tyler, the Creator songs before, and I always loved the way his voice sounds, and I just love the production on this album, and I don't know, I just love like the message and what he's talking about, and like, God, like 911 Mr. Lonely, that song slaps so hard. Like, I
Hello?
I can't not talk about that song enough, but I love the album so much. But yeah, that's it.
Oh, now it's me.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Okay, so we're at number 8 now.
Glad to
Number
see you
8.
Paying attention, Owen.
Number 8.
I have been paying attention. But
We've all been doing this.
My number 8 is Perfume Genius's No Shape.
Great album.
I think the production on this album is some of the best that there was this year for sure. It's just so, it's grandiose. It's really beautiful, and of course, Perfume Genius is the songs are always great too, and it's just a super beautiful album.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it.
I didn't like the Perfume Genius so much. Well, it's not that I didn't like
Was that
it.
right?
It's not that I didn't like the Perfume Genius album. I liked it. I just liked Too Bright so much that it kind of
Oh, I like this one so much more than Too Bright.
I don't know. It disappointed me after Too Bright.
Really?
Yeah. That's just how I
Huh.
felt
That's
about
understandable.
it. My number
guys
8
should
is
fight.
Ariel Pink
Yes.
with Bobby Jameson. Ariel Pink continues to be one of the most eclectic voices in music right now, and he throws you just all across the spectrum on his records, and he continues to do that here. I don't know. It's a great album. I think he continues to hit the ball out of the park, and if you've listened to an Ariel Pink record before, I think you kind of know what you're getting into here. But you should still check it out anyway, because some of these songs are nuts. Some of these songs have fantastic choruses. Yeah, there's I think there's something for everybody on it. Check it out.
See, Ryan, I would say that this album, even though I liked it, it didn't live up to Pom Pom.
I thought it pushed
Pom Pom
farther.
was too good. I was about to ask Ryan.
You think it pushed farther?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying Pom Pom was phenomenal. It's hard to top. But Ryan, did you like Bobby Jameson or Pom Pom more?
I don't know. They're pretty equal for me. I think Pom Pom
Really?
is a more solid record, but I think like the audacity for Ariel Pink to end the record the way he did on this one is kind of crazy. And like I don't know, I think he made crazier decisions on this one.
So you made a goddamn-
Crazier decisions.
He made a
crazy,
punk
yeah, crazier decisions.
But Pom Pom was off the wall.
It was, but crazier decisions without without bordering on obnoxious, which I think Pom Pom does occasionally. I think this record shies away
Okay.
from.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
I mean, I don't really agree, but I can definitely see that. Yeah.
You know,
I understand where you come from.
one thing Ariel Pink does is like a lot of hip hop artists, like they talk about their phones and stuff. Ariel Pink is like one of the only sort of bigger, I want to say, indie acts that just talks about their phone.
Always talking about his phone.
What?
I think
He's
it's
always
because
on his
people
phone.
don't want to intentionally date themselves by talking about something like that.
Well, yeah,
Um,
but he just does it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah,
It
and
still
that's kind of
fits.
cool.
It's always kind of, it always kind of takes me back. There's, I forget which song it was, but it was like, find my iPhone app a try.
Oh, that's Picture Me Gone.
Yeah, that's Picture Me Gone.
All right.
I think. Well, that's not quite the melody, but I
I
think
know
it's
it
Picture
isn't.
Me Gone.
I think,
Okay.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Christian.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, yeah.
Number
All right.
7.
My number 7 and number 6 switched back and forth a good amount, but Brick Body Kids Still Daydream is my number 7. It's the only rap record on this list, and I think it is genuinely timeless. I think I like dark comedy better as a record, in terms of like musicality, but the message of Brick Body Kids Still Daydream is like almost eternal to me. It is people in shitty situations that are born there should not give up, and they do not give up, and they are capable of doing amazing things despite the situations that have like befallen them. There hasn't the earnesty of that sentiment is humbling. I love this record for that reason, and Killer Open Mike. I almost said Killer Mike. I'm sorry. Open Mike Eagle is still as charismatic and as sweet as he was on previous projects. So that's why Brick Body Kids Still Daydream comes in at number 7 for me.
All right, my
That's
number
great
7 is also a rap record, and this is Tyler the Creator's Flower Boy. I'd been a fan of his for a while. He was kind of the rapper that got me into the genre as a whole, and regrettably, I've defended a lot of his earlier albums, which I might not do as vehemently anymore. And I was really disappointed by Cherry Bomb, his last full length.
Oh, Cherry Bomb.
But I do think that was an important kind of crossroads for him to then create Flower Boy, which is such an ambitious record for him and kind of broke him out of this shell that he was in. He got really sentimental on it. He changed up his flows a lot more, which is great. And it just came together with a really solid project that I was very pleasantly surprised by this year. That's about it.
All right. Here we go. My number 7 album is Power Plant by Girlpool. This one kind of surprised me. I listened to it really, really late, even though Owen was listening to it like right when it came out. He was like, "Hey, buddy, you gotta listen to Girlpool." He doesn't actually sound like that, but
Thanks for clearing that up.
just making sure no one gets confused and starts thinking when I do a dumb voice, it's Owen's voice. Anyways, it was really phenomenal. It just, right when I listened to this album, I texted someone saying, "Wow, this album made me feel things that I haven't felt in a very long time." It gave me childlike wonder. It was phenomenal. I don't know. I liked it a lot. I'm talking about emotions more than the album because people have already been talking about the album, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I feel like end of the year lists are times to get sentimental about records rather than like talking about the actual music.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
absolutely.
have to because someone already talked about Power Plant and said basically everything else I would have said.
Yeah. All right. Well, at my number 7, I have Mirror Reaper by Bell Witch, which I really had not a lot of expectations going in. I obviously thought it was going to be good, or my expectation is that it would be good, but man, I did not expect what they put out to be so like crushing. Honestly, like it's just one track. It's 86 minutes long, and you can zone out to this album, and like the first time I listened to it, like I was completely hypnotized by what it did. And,
Can I
yeah.
can I speak on that record too? Because it was so close to being in my top 10. Can I just piggyback
Yeah.
on you?
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
When I listened, I got on the Bell Witch train with Four Phantoms. I thought it was a fantastic record, and I was hoping that they would come out with more like the song "Suffocation," "A Drowning" on Four Phantoms, and then they came out with 86 minutes of stuff that sounded like "Suffocation," "A Drowning," and and so it hit me right where I wanted it to, and it felt a lot like reading a book to me. I thought like
Totally.
because it returns to that consistent like theme that changes a little bit each time, and there's always like there's parts that like drag a little bit, but you can like chalk those up to exposition if you want. It's like I don't know, it's just a very nice record to listen to if you have the time.
Yeah. It's like it's post-rocky in nature.
Yes,
That's how I look at it.
and folksy almost.
Yeah.
After the movie Rocky.
Ah. True,
All right.
Harry.
Owen's turn.
Yes.
Alrighty, Owen.
All right, my next one, number 7, is Father John Misty's Pure Comedy. I was skeptical at first. I didn't like this album at first. I thought it was so boring.
Yeah, but you thought you didn't
Because
like "I Love You, Honey Bear"
it
first
says that-
either.
Oh, that's
Really?
true. That's true. But by the time Pure Comedy came out, I was fully on board with "I Love You, Honey Bear."
Yes.
It was really Leaving LA that
Yeah.
kind of turned you off from this record, right?
Oh my god, that's my least
It
favorite
was-
track on the
Or
album.
just
Yeah,
kinda
I
what it
mean,
stood
leaving
for.
LA, but like
I actually really like
no, not what it stood for. It's just like the whole album's pretty slow. So it took me a few listens to really recognize what was so great about it, which is, his lyrics, like, and the songs are good too. You just have to be patient, and I wasn't patient at first, but I'm glad I gave it, a couple more tries because I really appreciate this album now. He's self-aware and he gives a lot of commentary, but he's self-aware about how, sort of privileged that commentary is, and
Yeah.
it's it's a great album.
I have a lot to say about that record, but I think I'll talk on it later.
I really
Okay.
like, I
Um,
really like the part where he talks about the Talking Heads in the end.
Yo, quick.
Well, he doesn't talk about the Talking Heads, but he says the piano player is playing "This Must Be the Place," and everything's all right.
Quick intermission. Ethan, my dad is asking how much you would like to be paid for filming Sean.
I would like no money.
Okay.
'Cause I would feel uncomfortable.
I said you don't have to
Oh,
give
you
him
are
anything,
filming Sean playing some baseball.
but if you want to, anything is okay. Should I just say you don't have to give him
$3
anything?
million.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with no pay.
$20
doing it as a
an
favor.
hour. I'm a professional. All right, who's up?
So Ryan, do you have a number? You have a number 7?
I sure do. I'm just sending that text to my dad. All right, here we go.
It's Ryan's least favorite.
My number 7 is also Open Mike Eagle with Brick Body Kids Still Daydreaming. I think it's not my favorite record of hers because Dark Comedy is one of my favorite hip hop records of all time.
Yeah, that was how.
Yeah, so I think no matter how well he did with this one, just how much Dark Comedy means to me couldn't be matched. Be matched by a record that had just come out because Dark Comedy is so entrenched in what I listen to all the time. But on this album, what I'm saying is it could rise up as time goes on, but I don't see it rising up to the level that Dark Comedy holds. But I don't know. He continues to be one of the most likable people in rap music. He conveys so well that he's a well-meaning person, and I think Christian spoke on it very, very well. So I don't have too much more to add beyond that. But I think he's truly one of the most wholesome people in rap music, and
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
and there's
When
nothing.
Ethan and I shook his hand at his concert, we felt the wholesomeness right there.
He's like a dad, dude.
Yeah,
He is a dad, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
there's.
Oh wait, Ryan, are you all set?
Yeah, my auntie's building as the closing track is really, really awesome. I think it matches Big Pretty Bridges and just how cathartic it is. But yeah, that's about all I got to say. I'll piggyback on what Christian says and add that.
Number 6.
Christian Canal.
So my number 6 is not as coherent as Brick Body Kids, but it is more in my wheelhouse in terms of stuff that I listen to, and it is Rocket by Sandy Alex G.
Yeah.
This album came into my sights pretty late. Like it was sometime when I was in college, and what he does with the instrumentals isn't. I would not go as far to say it is experimental, but the time signature changes that he does are very impressive. That he's able to arrange pieces other things around it when the changes come so quick. Because there's the very first song is. It starts off and it's like in 14, and then it goes into 6, and then it goes back into 14, and it's I was really amazed with how well it came together. And there is a huge thematic shift from the beginning to the end, but it still manages to kind of come out as cohesive, not necessarily in terms of theme, but in terms of sonic construction. And that's its biggest shortcoming, is that it does not have any lyrical themes or anything like that. It doesn't really hit you in any way with lyrics, but the songs are all super enjoyable, and because it is so far in my wheelhouse, I couldn't help but give it a high spot on this list. So Rocket is my number 6.
All right. My number 6 is Idols with Brutalism. If we're just talking about like records that I just had a blast listening to, this is definitely the one. It had definitely very over political themes, and it had a message that it was trying to send. But honestly, you can listen for that if you want, but it's so easy to just turn that off in your headspace when you're listening to this, and just like yell those hooks in your car when you're driving. Dateline and what is it, like 1913 Gotho Street or something like that?
Yeah.
Two of my favorite hooks of the year, not to mention the incredible singles like Mother and
Well Done.
Well Done, thank you. Great tracks. I had a ton of fun listening to this album.
Well Done is
That's
so good.
that's my number 6.
Well Done is a kick.
Well Done
ass
is
song.
really funny too.
Yeah.
Bob Marley.
Yeah, it is.
Bob Marley.
Why don't you like reggae?
Yeah,
Even
Tom
Tom Quinn
Quinn
likes
likes
reggae.
let's talk about
Mary
Even
Berry
Mary
likes
Berry.
reggae.
let's talk
I'm gonna be right back. You guys can keep going without me though, okay?
Why don't
whatever
you
you-
like
I was talking to
football?
Christian about this in the car, but there's a live performance where they perform Well Done, and at the reggae part, instead of saying Well Done, they do yell Bob Marley, and it's really good.
You guys know they're coming to Boston?
What?
What?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll be looking into that. All right, Harry.
All right. My number 6 is Open Mike Eagles, Brick Body Kids Still Daydream.
All right.
I just want to say 2 favorite tracks off that are easily 95 Radios and TLDR Smithing.
Oh, that's such a good song, dude. It's so Doom-esque.
It just drops in and just hits you the whole time. And that sort of dropping in and just hitting you is what the album does best. He's consistent through all the tracks. There's not really, even in like Flower Boy, there were some parts I just hated. But there was nothing in
Really?
that album I hated. It's consistent. It's amazing. These guys know I'm not a big hip-hop guy. But it's just awesome. Alright, that's all I got to say about that.
All right, well, at my number 6 spot is another metal album, and it's Primitive Man with Caustic, and holy shit. Ryan did a really good job speaking on this record, but I just want to add that this album is so fucking kick-ass. Like, I just, like, it gets me, like, it reminds me of how the Nails album from last year made me feel, where just, like, you don't want to say you want to hurt somebody, but this album makes me want to hurt somebody. And it's awesome.
I also think it's more dynamic
That's it.
than the Nails record from last year.
It is more dynamic. I'm not comparing them, but it just made me feel similar emotions.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
All right, my 7th. No, wait, we're on 6, right?
You sure
Yep.
are.
Yeah. My 6th is Supermodel by SZA. I thought I hadn't heard of SZA before this album. I guess I wasn't super into that scene when her first EP came out. But
Her first EP
I
was
thought this
kinda
album
just
was really
okay.
good, even though she doesn't have the most dynamic voice. The like the songs are really good throughout. The narrative is good throughout. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this album.
Sweet. Ryan Bussey.
All right, my number 6 is it's an EP. It's by a metal band, but I don't know if I'd call it a metal EP. I guess I'd go more with industrial post-punk. It's Street Sex with Rat Jacket. This would be higher up if it wasn't 18 minutes. I had a hard time justifying putting something that's only 18 minutes higher up on my list, but Street Sex, they put out one of my favorite records last year. They put out one of my favorite projects this year. I think they just have such a unique thing going for them. The way that all their drums are sampled, even in a rock/metal setting, gives it this artificial, like off the factory floor vibe. And their synths continue to hit hard. And I don't know. I don't think anybody's doing it like they are. And I mean, for a band that I already liked to mix their sound with post-punk, which is consistently one of my favorite genres, is it was the recipe for success as far as like me liking the album goes. And I think Black in the Other Eye is absolutely one of the best songs of this year. Just the beat change up on that song is incredible. And yeah, and I got to meet them at their show in New Orleans in October, and it was a crazy show where I couldn't see my hands in front of my face, and they flashed strobe lights at us from all directions, and wherever I looked, it looked like TV static. And that probably that matches the aesthetic of the music, and probably has enhanced my experience listening to it ever since.
Awesome.
Christian, number 5.
All right. Number
Done.
5 for me
Number five.
is Peasant by Richard Dawson. I really cannot state how incredible this record is in terms of inspiration. This is where the list for me just displays how much of a fucking powerhouse 2017 was for music. Richard Dawson has such an incredible way of expressing the way that the environment that he's describing through music alone. This English countryside that's murky and foggy comes through so incredibly with the guitar tone on this record, and not to mention that he's an incredibly creative guitarist with what he does. I could not get enough of this record. This is definitely in my pantheon of like records that I will listen to moving forward. And there are some undeniably like caustic, vitriolic, and alluring anthems on this record. Songs like The Scientist are phenomenal in how they build and how they create an atmosphere. That's one of my favorite songs of the year because of the way that the vocals work, the way that the guitar works. It's so percussive and tinny. He just does so much with so little. I cannot. This is probably my most underrated record of the year. And if there weren't, and if the albums that hadn't come out hadn't already had my heart, this would probably, if this like album had come out in like a year like 2016, I think this would have been my top album. So yeah.
Awesome. Ethan.
All right, yeah, kind of adding to what Christian said, 2017 was such a fruitful year for music. Like, I'd say at least everything in my top 5, definitely everything in my top 5, is like, I view it as, I'm going to listen to it in the future, and it was so ridiculously hard to place. Like, I don't know, almost all of them are kind of equal in my eyes. But anyway, my number 5 was Sun Kil Moon's new when it came out in early 2017, Common as Light and Love and Red Valleys of Blood. I had listened to Benji on like Christian's recommendation and Ryan's recommendation, but it really only clicked this year, and then this record came out and really cemented my love for Sun Kil Moon. The stories Mark tells over this 2-hour like monolith of a record are so insightful and not always concise, but always poignant. he's never saying something just to say it, even though it might seem it. He always paints this picture of kind of modernity, but he always finds like metaphors and things insightful in the modernity. And I think it's a really beautiful record, much more political than some other stuff that he's written before, which works really, really well.
Transgender loss.
Yeah. Great record. My only complaint is, like, if you are not interested in Mark Kozlik, his life or worldview, you're not gonna like this record that much.
Yeah.
So
That's accurate.
that's about all I have to say.
All right, Harry.
All right, number 5. Top 5. I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about everything.
Understand.
My fifth favorite album
Sorry,
this year
it's difficult.
was actually Greatest Hits.
Oh, wait, are you going to
It
bed?
was Greatest Hits by Remo
Okay,
Drive.
well, it's okay.
Oh my
You don't
god,
have to stay
it
up.
goes so hard.
It slaps.
That's not what I was saying.
It's just that anthemic emo pop punk sound.
I can go
just
downstairs,
love
actually.
So much.
They really do a great service to the genre.
It's phenomenal the whole way through. It's really, really consistent, and it's got great tracks the whole way through. I feel like
Sophia?
it kind of only starts
I'm gonna stay
getting
down here,
really,
so it's
really
okay.
into itself in the last
Oh,
3
sorry,
tracks,
Holly.
though. Just from You're Killing Me to I'm My Own Doctor and Name Brand. And also, it's one of those, like Ethan was saying, with how you can just belt out every single just chorus on every single
Sorry, she might sleep on my feet.
on every single Idols song. It's the same case. The hooks go so hard and just get you right away.
Yeah, I wasn't even a huge fan of this record, but the immediacy and catchiness of the hooks is really something impressive.
And it's just so much fun.
I'll also add that I saw them live, and they
Yeah, I
are
know.
awesome live.
Fendi Gucci, young Chevy. It's so good. I can't recommend this album enough.
All right.
And I think Ryan might have been telling me to listen to it actually.
Yeah, because it was emo music though, not because I liked it.
Oh yeah, because when we had study together, you were telling me to listen to it. I remember.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was pretty alright. I wouldn't like, you know.
All right. Well, that's
You know,
Ryan
you know
Buss's
how I
opinion.
am with emo music.
I know,
Yeah,
I
a
know.
baby.
Yeah.
It's a derogatory term.
Yeah, he did. Don't be.
All right. Anyways, Jacob, you're up.
All right. Well, and my number 5 slot is Jesus, I'm blanking. Brutalism by Idols, which I had no clue about this band.
What's that?
No clue is coming out. Heard it, slaps so damn hard, like, and I understand what Ethan's saying about the political stuff and how you can just kind of turn it out and the album will still be like absolutely phenomenal, but the political stuff is really what gets me going
That's why I've been
sometimes
asking
with
seven.
it, especially with Mother and Well Done. Well Done, not really so much political,
I'm
but
leaving
more
you.
personal stuff. But
I'm getting
yeah,
up
some of the
at
greatest
7:45.
songs of the year to just sucker for some slapping punk music.
It's my number 5 is
Okay. Well,
Vince Staples' Big Fish Theory.
Oh man.
all right. I'll keep
This album, not only does it sound great, it's got like this really unusual production. I think it's almost futuristic production. It's like this might be what hip hop sounds like. Well, I'm not sure this album made the stir that I thought it might, but it could be what hip hop sounds like
I
a
think
few
it's going
years
to be
from
something
now.
that grows on people.
Yeah.
Over time, for sure.
Maybe, but not only that, but the energy on some of these tracks is awesome, especially Bag Back.
Yeah, right.
The
Yeah,
like,
right.
politically charged lyrics.
Big
and
Fish.
It's a great album.
Yeah. Did I mention it in my honorable mentions? Because I meant to.
Big Fish. Crabs in a Bucket's a great song.
Oh my god, yeah.
I like 745.
I
a
think
lot.
I think you did, Ryan.
Yeah. Well, if not, I meant to put it there. It's not that like songs like that are great. I just thought it was a bit inconsistent at points.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with the last track, but sometimes, if it's the last track, it doesn't for me anyway, you can just turn it off.
Yeah.
So you forget about the last track. If it was in the middle, it would be a different story.
Right.
That's so beautiful.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a glaring, horrible thing at the end enough for me to really think too much of it.
All right.
Alright.
Well, my 5 and 4 went back and forth with each other, quite a bit, but I had to finalize the list eventually. So here's what we ended up with. My number 5 is Proto Martyr with Relatives in Descent. I'm a sucker for post-punk with a baritone vocalist. I mean, Turn on the Bright Lights is my favorite record of all time. So, it's kind of like a cheat code for me to like it, but that's not to take away from the record itself, because I do think the record is very well made, but I'm just saying I'm going into it as a very friendly audience for it to speak to. But I think this is one of the most sonically one of the most cathartic listens I've had this year. Just the way a lot of the songs build to like this repetitive but loud end where he's just belting this one phrase in a way where he means it. I don't know what he's talking about. To be honest, I haven't dove too far into the lyrical themes. But
my mic off right now.
But just stuff like on the first track where it builds and builds and builds, and then you're just left with him like yelling over this monstrous instrumental, like she's just trying to meet you, is some gorgeous stuff, and definitely the reason I seek out post-punk so often. Yeah, whatever he's saying, he means it, and tracks like Windsor Hum and the first track and Male Plague and stuff are just great tunes, and it's kind of the perfect record for me to like, and I think it delivered on all fronts. So
Sweet.
All right. So my number 4 record of this year is Pure Comedy by Father John Misty. I'm pretty sure we've already said a good deal of this record. I just want to speak to the ability for Josh Tillman to rein in all of these different sonic themes into one cohesive narrative that each and every single song has its own. It's like a little vignette about the state of humanity. I think that's one of the reasons why I like Pure Comedy better than I Love You, Honey Bear. It's a purely personal thing, but I thought that the kind of existential themes on Pure Comedy are a lot more original than any musing on Love can be. Especially after like kind of centuries of love songs have been written.
you ever heard a love song that cynical though, Christian?
I don't know, dude. Is it really that hard to be like cynical though?
Yeah, but have you ever seen anyone do it that well?
I love you, Honey Bear. I'm just saying that the originality of and the kind of I don't know.
I think that this
like
was a little more ambitious thematically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
like I mean, like, dude, it's so much harder to like speak about the state of humanity than it is to be like about like a girl you loved.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
in a way, he used love as an outlet to talk about the state of humanity on "I Love You, Honey Bear." This one was more direct.
Very fair, yeah. I love you, Honey Bear. They're like
Yeah.
I don't want to make it seem like I'm disparaging in any way. I'm just saying that Pure Comedy, it is really self-aware and meta, especially and it's just great to hear. I think it's really one of the albums that we needed this year.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I'm extremely excited to see what Josh Tillman does next. I haven't even talked about just how, kind of in a kinetic way, how much these songs just gel with me. There are tracks like Leaving LA and Birdie, which I understand, I understand kind of Josh Tillman wanting to indulge himself on those ventures, but they didn't pan out for me. But When the God of Love Returns, There Will Be Hell Today is a phenomenal song on a lyrical level and on a sonic level. I love that song to death. So I'm Growing Old on Magic Mountain is phenomenal. And like pretty much the first half of the record until you get to Birdie, and then after Leaving LA, the record is perfect in my mind. So,
Wait, so you don't like
that's
Leaving
really
LA?
good about Well, dude, like, I do not listen to Leaving LA.
Oh, I do.
Oh man,
I can
that's
definitely
that's a high
understand
point
that.
for me.
I think
Like,
me-
I
me too.
like,
High point, really.
I don't like. It's not that I vehemently hate Leaving LA, dude. But like, Josh, you.
Oh, my dog bit my foot. Ow, ow. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm gonna turn off my mic.
Dude, like, maybe he could have
No,
made
stop,
made the instrumental
stop.
a little bit more
Holly,
interesting.
no,
if we were gonna listen to it
no,
for 13
no,
minutes. Because that's
no.
not that long of a song in terms of like other songs that I consume on a on a relatively regular basis. But like, I could stand to maybe not listen to the musings of Father John Misty for like 13 minutes.
I know, but just like as soon as I'm getting tired of it, he references how long the song is and how he's gonna like lose people because of it, and it sucks me right back in.
Yeah, but like,
agree with what you
He always
like,
knows
if
what
you're
to
getting
say.
if you're getting stabbed, like someone's like, "Hey, this really sucks, doesn't it?" It doesn't help.
No, I don't think it sucks.
That's the thing.
is
I don't think it really sucks.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah, neither do I.
I'm sure Ryan and I will talk about this when we talk about the
All right,
record.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
So
I
the
also
record
will.
is basically number 3 on my list, but like,
It's number 4.
you know, like that's I don't like Leaving LA. I really think that Josh Tillman could have maybe put a little bit more effort into the instrumental to make it like interesting. I love what he talks about. I think it's great. I think it's like the most meta song on the album where where he not only analyzes the state of the world, but he analyzes himself as just kind of like a pompous dick.
Yeah, some 10-verse chorus
I
with
think one-
diatribe play as
I
they
think
all
that's,
drum ship. I used to like this guy.
Yeah.
This new shit really makes
I
me
think
want
he
to die.
intentionally made it difficult to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
okay?
also do.
Regardless of that, that doesn't that does not.
Yeah, it
increase
doesn't
my
make you
enjoyment
want to
of it.
listen to it. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
I would agree.
I don't dislike the song. I want to get that clear. I don't dislike the song. Whenever I listen to this out, like whenever I listen to this album as an album, I listen to it and I listen to Birdie and stuff too. Because even though I don't like them in the context, like I don't like them as much as the rest of the songs, I still think they're great. Like it's still a great record, and
Yeah.
you listen to great records all the way through because they're worth. it.
Yeah,
That-
for
They are
sure.
worth. It's worth listening to all the flavors. I just genuinely like. I don't care that he made it difficult to listen to on purpose. Like, that's not why I listen to music.
Okay.
I don't. I genuinely think that with how capable of a composer Josh has shown himself to be, he could have tried a little bit harder on Leaving LA. So that's why I think that Leaving LA is not a good song. Thank you very much to everybody. Good night.
Boo.
No, don't bite my foot again.
Yep.
Oh,
All right.
Easy.
It's number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.
All right, great. So my number 4 is Brockhampton's Saturation, and I guess this would be where the trilogy would sit, but
No.
my favorite was number 1, just a smidge over 3. And that's not, honestly, I'm not even sure if it's down to quality at this point. It's just so much for the memories, and I have associated with listening to this record. When I think of the summer 2017, this is the album that I'm going to associate it with playing in my car or
You
with
don't come,
you
like,
guys,
don't come down again. I can
and
deal with it.
just like
It's alright.
singing along to all the
Just, like,
hooks and all the
gathering
catchy
all
lines.
together, so no.
And since it was like kind of
Yeah,
the
but
first
she bites me so fast.
huge mainstream thing that they had, but they were still sort of in the underground sphere. It sounds so scrappy and raw, and you can really hear that they're putting their like absolute all into it. Not to say that has changed with the last 2 records that they've put out, but for me it was just so infectious on this one.
Okay,
So
so
What?
that's my
mine
piece.
is horribly underrated, and I only found it
Thank you.
because of the
You don't have to come
garbage
down
rack-
again.
Garbage rack from WMD. It is Goodnight Doggies by Dominic. Dominic just kind of came from like the New Jersey DIY scene. He didn't blow up at all. I would have said he blew up, but he didn't. Only got about 14,000 listeners a month on Spotify. I mean, whatever. That's kind of a big number. But oh. But
Some people would like to have it.
anyways, it's just kind of a bit folky, kind of lo-fi, kind of punky at times. It's just an album that someone with a lot of background came from and put a lot of love into. It's passion that I like to hear. It's really great. You should give it a listen. Goodnight Doggies by Dominic. You guys should all give it a listen too.
I've never heard of that.
Dominic.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
See,
neither have I.
Is this by Dominic?
I will,
Is that with a C or with a QUE?
damn.
It's gonna be tough to find. There are lots of Dominics out there.
All right, Jacob, it's all you.
All right. So clocking in at number 4 on my list is my most underrated album of the year, and that is Neo Wax Bloom by Igloo Ghost. And from the moment I heard Chinese New Year, the EP he released a while back, I fell in love with the way he produces. It's like really strange electronic music that just keeps hitting you with just these weird noises and shit. He's signed to Brain Feeder, if that's any help. But like I was really looking forward to his full length debut, and he did not disappoint me at all. He's got these crazy samples that he uses all over the place that are like pitch shifted voices, and it just keeps hitting you super hard. And the story, the pseudo story that his music tells about like this little witch that goes through portals in space, it captures that perfectly, and I definitely think it's one of the most underrated albums of the year.
All right. So my next album is not an underrated album, but I think is an underrated album among this group,
Oh, is this? Yeah.
and this would be "Damn" by Kendrick Lamar. I think, I don't know. I think a lot of people don't like this. Well, not that people don't like this album, but this album had a lot to live up to, and of course, I don't think it's as good as "To Pimp a Butterfly," but
Or Good Kid, Mad City.
or Good Kid, Mad City. So yeah, this album had a lot to live up to. But one thing I think people don't give this album credit for is just the energy and the emotion that's on it. Like DNA is one of the, I don't know, with like the Fox News samples that come in. There's just so much in those samples, so much emotion, so much anger, and then there's so much, I don't know, brokenheartedness and depression on Triple X and energy on Triple X. I think there's so much emotion in this album that, that he doesn't get credit for because it just maybe thematically and conceptually didn't live up to his last 2 albums.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Owen.
I mean, I'll admit that I'm definitely part of that camp, but that doesn't change how I feel about it. Like, it doesn't change the fact
Yeah.
that I love his last 2 records so much that To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the most tightly woven records I've ever heard. That like
Yeah.
he couldn't have possibly lived up to my expectations, but that doesn't change the fact that he didn't live up to my expectations. Yeah.
I'll always
I mean,
stand by
it's
the
like-
fact that
It's kind of my
sorry,
fault. It's kind of my fault, but I still can't change that feeling.
Yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, I stand by the statement that like if you, like I feel that like Damn is like maybe it's like a 7, but like Kendrick Lamar's 7 is like any other rapper's like 9.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So, Jacob, are you saying that we hold Kendrick to such a high standard that when he puts out a great album, by most people's standards, it's only okay because Kendrick did it, and we expect more?
No, I'm just saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that he's such a he's among the greats now.
That most rappers would aspire to make a record like Damn.
Yes.
But for Kendrick, it's okay.
Yes. It's like it's not as good as his previous projects, but it's still something that like most other rappers would aspire to make something as good as.
I agree, except I think it's
No, yeah.
I don't know. I still love this. I love this record.
It's just a
It's just very
it's
difficult
personal thing.
to remove him from the pedestal.
Also, I lied about
that,
something.
everyone's
Dominic
kind of
has
accustomed to.
2,000
Totally.
monthly Spotify listeners.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I was wondering why it was so hard to look up.
All right, Ryan
Um,
Bussey.
So my number 4, I'm actually surprised. I think I'm the person who put this highest on their list. But my number 4 is Tyler, the Creator, with Flower Boy. I first heard Tyler through Bastard when I was like 14, which is the wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Which is the wheelhouse to listen to Bastard in. And then as I got older, I started to listen to his more recent records, and I felt like I'd matured and Tyler hadn't. Which just left me not connecting with any of his other albums. And I've even fallen out of favor with Bastard to an extent. I mean, like, there's still memories associated with it, but I think a lot of it is so needlessly edgy and kind of But in Cherry Bomb was so instantly forgettable that I often forget it actually exists.
So do I.
Yeah,
So do I.
Ethan mentioned it, and I had forgotten that it didn't go Wolf Flower Boy.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
'cause Cherry Bomb almost didn't feel like an album.
It didn't.
No,
It was just
it-
like this great mess
Yeah.
that he did.
hmm
Yeah.
But it is an important stepping stone, I think, especially if you listen to
'Cause
some of the jazzy
yeah.
cuts
Yeah.
on Cherry Bomb.
He took a next step on the instrumentation, but it was just such a mess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
On that one,
It's-
and he really came together.
It's a
on
bit
that-
of a
on
brutal
Flower Boy.
lesson, I think.
Not to steal your thunder, Ryan.
That's okay. But I think Tyler finally matured in a lot of senses. I don't think he's like, the most mature rapper around, but but he certainly is like he feels less like a kid finally, and and I don't know. He came through with.
Honestly,
I don't want
about
Tyler to
time,
mature all the way though.
No, I don't either.
Yeah,
but-
definitely about time, but also I don't want him to be like a serious guy.
I know.
Because Tyler's a great character.
Right, but I don't know. He dropped the shock rap, which was good.
Yes. For sure.
And he just made a lot of tightly woven songs. I often skip dropping seeds because I don't like the Lil Wayne feature, but
Honestly, it's
Yeah,
so short though. Like,
yeah,
it is pretty short.
but
It's,
And
it makes it a
the
little more
instrumental's pretty
the
good.
instrumental is pretty
Yeah.
good. But yeah, tracks like Boredom.
that's one thing you cannot knock the album for, and that's its production, I think.
Boredom is definitely one of my absolutely favorite songs of the year. 911, Mr. Lonely.
I ain't got
November.
time.
Who that boy?
Who Dat Boy?
Who Dat
Oh,
Boy.
Ain't Got
What's that?
Time.
Oh, the accordion sample on that
Yeah.
is killer. The accordion sample on that song.
Yeah, it's just a tight record, and I'm just glad he came through finally, and I've been listening to it consistently all year, so there you go.
Because he's always shown that he's a talented guy,
Yeah.
but he's also shown that he maybe didn't have the attention span to make
Yeah.
something great, and he finally did.
All right. Am I good?
It was
number three.
it came with a
Okay.
sense of relief. Sorry. All right, there you go, Christian.
I think my number 3 just shows how much of a Mark Kozlik stan I am. Number 3 is...
Christian, I think that phrase has been said for the first time tonight.
Yeah. My number 3 is as common as Late in Love or Red Valleys of Blood. I wish I had the courage as a songwriter to do what Mark Kozlik does. And I realize that Mark Kozlik is kind of in his twilight years. He's like 50, and he kind of puts out whatever he wants. But it's the way that he talks on this album seems so lackadaisical. But
It's not though. That's the thing, right?
it's not. Everything seems deliberate, and Mark has a tale that he wants to weave out of every single one of these songs through the guise of being kind of a simple dude, or at least an older dude. Songs like Butch's Lullaby are potent in how relatable they are, to just people who have kind of met people that might not have revolutionized their world, but were still important to them, like old friends, and losing those people means for them. And the political commentary on this album comes across as some of the most just so lovable in how simplistic it is. Mark Kozlik does not give a shit about the higher workings of like the Supreme Court of the United States, but he knows that people should not be dicks to each other, and that is beautiful. There's really not much I can say about this album without giving stuff away. But if you are a fan of the narrative of Mark Kozlik, and if he has influenced you like he has me, I don't think you are doing yourself a service by skipping this record. I fucking remember when this album came out, and I'm not a huge fan of Sun Kill Moon Project pre Benji. Owen got bit by his dog.
He silenced himself.
Owen.
No,
but,
no. Holly,
I
no.
listened to the
No.
the nylon
No.
guitar on
No
the
biting.
first song
No.
had me instantly hooked. Had me like in the fucking
No.
awe. I love this album to death, and so that's gonna.
Christian, can I say that I have a very fond memory of you and I listening to it all the way through on the way to
No.
and from Boston.
No.
Boston,
visit
No.
because it's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was in the back on the way back.
You were on. Yeah, you were there on
guys
the way
picked me up,
back.
and I
You got the second half.
yeah, that was I that is when I think of that album that I associated with that night also.
Yeah, me too.
That was a pretty magical day.
Yeah, it was. All right, Ethan Lassie.
Oh, okay. Number 3.
Yes, sir.
It's Pure Comedy by Father John Misty. People have talked a lot about this already, and it's making a lot of lists. Obviously, the symphonic arrangements are beautiful. Josh Tillman comes in full force with this his incredibly interesting and ever abrasive worldview. To talk about leaving LA just for a little bit, I don't want to go super into it again. I think the masturbatory nature of it
No.
is
No.
it's definitely the
No.
point, and even though it makes it a
No
little bit
biting.
difficult to listen
No.
to conceptually, I really appreciate that. And sure, the instrumentation gets a little dry, especially towards the end when it just kind of keeps going. But I think he pulls together some of his most poignant lyrics on that track. And
I think his vocal performance is a bit cathartic.
yes, absolutely.
Totally.
And Magic Mountain is one of the best songs of
All
the
right.
year, if not the
so
decade.
remember that time when I said it
that's
was a
about it.
bad year for post-punk?
Harry.
I lied because of Piles, a hair shirt of purpose. This one
Yeah.
got me because it said hair shirt, and that's a good REM song. But it's just a really interesting, weird album. It's filled with all kinds of stuff I've never heard before, and it just bangs the whole way through. It's weird, it's dark, it's loud, and it's a lot of fun. You should give it a listen. Is Zeke still getting bitten?
Owen is having a hard time right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay now.
I just like how you keep getting bit by your dog, and then you type just spam letters
Hi,
to
Dad.
the chat.
I didn't even mean to do that.
All right.
The pain was
Um,
too great.
Well,
it
I
just
guess
happened.
I'm up. So at number
I have holes in my socks.
at number 3 for me is Brockhampton Saturation Trilogy. I think my favorite one. I think I've decided it's 3. But man, I'll admit I hopped on a little late. I pretty much hopped on at Saturation 2, but god damn, I'm so happy that I listened, because I don't know much to say about this, but like I guess I never like listened to like a new hip hop collective come out before. Like I didn't listen to Odd Future when it happened or anything like that. But this is just so much fun to listen to, and there's so many fucking bangers. There's so many great deep cuts, and just the personalities of each member is so much fun to like get to know.
Yeah, it kind of feels like you know a group of people after you listen to a couple records.
Totally. And it's
funny.
just fun to look forward to a verse
No!
from a
Yeah.
person.
Sorry.
No, don't worry.
No.
Oh,
no.
Now it's
No.
his turn.
No.
He's not here.
Yeah. I'll keep rambling about Brockhampton. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of fun to look forward to verses from people.
Big Hampton.
Yep.
Y'all want to talk about Brockhampton's
Oh.
Twitter real quick?
Oh,
before Owen gets
Brockhampton's
back?
Twitter.
Kevin Abshuck made me sad the other day.
Why?
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Because he was like, I don't want to be famous anymore. This sucks.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them tweet about that, Christian.
Well,
Like
he
that-
posted a thing on
Yeah, 'cause
Instagram.
he said if you knew what it was like to be famous, you wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
I saw another member, I forget who it was, tweet, who the hell would want to be famous?
I think it was Bareface.
Yeah, something like that.
And I don't even know what he looks like. He's not even that famous.
Alright, Owen. Owen, it's your turn.
Okay,
dude.
sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That was a
After-
bad thing to say.
After that gnarly Bareface row.
No, that was a terrible thing to say. I shouldn't. I really shouldn't have said that.
It's Owen, it's not like he's gonna hear it.
I know,
I'll cut it out, don't worry.
but okay, no, I mean, you don't. I mean, you can cut it out,
I wasn't
or you
planning
cannot
on
cut it
cutting
out. And Well, I talked about how I didn't like it, so that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so
Your
I
number
can't.
three.
I'm not sure if you can hear the dog bark in the background, but I had to put it in the cage because it bit my feet too many times. Now it's gonna bark for 3 hours. So
Sweet.
yeah. Can you hear it?
A
Yeah,
little bit.
It's not so
It,
bad.
it shouldn't be bad.
Okay.
Slap an EQ on that would get.
Number 3 is Rhapsody with Layla's Wisdom. This is a definitely like the production is very To Pimp a Butterfly influenced, but I really like. She does have she has some themes that are also touched upon in a lot of conscious hip hop albums today, but not many other. Or like none really that I know of. No other hip hop albums put such an emphasis on self-esteem. And I mean, I guess Kendrick did a little bit in To Pimp a Butterfly, but it's much more prevalent on this album. So it's, I don't know. She's got a lot of poignant bars on here, and I don't know. I think it's just a really great record. I hope it wins Rap Album of the Year of the Grammys at the Grammys. Personally, I think it would be a great nod, especially since she's such a new artist, and I think she's got a lot.
Oh, she
lot
isn't
ahead
really
of her.
that new of an artist.
Well, I mean, okay, I guess she's not that new of an artist,
in the
but it's her
limelight,
first.
yeah,
It's her
definitely.
first album, right?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
Oh,
Go on
you're
to
right.
Spotify, Yeah.
I'm sorry. She's got a lot of
Is
albums.
this? It's.
It's a breakthrough album. It's definitely
It is,
a breakthrough
definitely
album.
is.
Look, I sound very uninformed right now, but yeah, so it's definitely a breakthrough album, and I don't know. Yeah, I think it'd be great if she won a Grammy.
I am.
Right,
My number three is also Pure Comedy by Father John Misty, and I wanted to say that 2017 was a year that could turn just about anybody into a cynical asshole, and the most cynical asshole in the world came along and released a record about the state of not just things and but just humanity in general, and he was as biting and kind of dickish as
Josh Tillman.
as I wanted him to be, and I mean he does get a bit more tender on certain points, but even that is with a bit of existentialism. I don't know. It's just a record that has a lot to it, a lot to digest, in its hour and 20 minute
Ryan was
runtime.
gonna leave it off at it's just a
It's just a record, yeah, because I think your voice cut out. Your voice cut
Oh,
out.
did
So
it?
it's just a record, and then it paused.
Gotcha. Yeah, and in its hour and 20 minute runtime, there's a lot to digest, and I'll keep coming back to it to glean more stuff from it each time. Plus, there's just fantastic tunes. The opening track, the opening title track, "Total Entertainment Forever" is a banger. "Ballad of the Dying Man" had me excited for the record when it dropped. "Growing Old on Magic Mountain" is great. I think "Leaving LA" is great. "The Memo" I think is an awesome song.
Oh my God, Memo's killer, dude.
Yeah, I don't think there's a bad song on the record, but I wish he wouldn't say the word "smoochy." I don't think it's a bad song. I just don't like the word, and I don't like that I have to.
I like it when he says
say the
smoochy.
title of the song is "smoochy." That's a very small gripe, but it is a gripe, and so.
Well, here's the thing. I don't hope that I don't hope that he doesn't say the word smoochy. I just hope he doesn't call his wife smoochy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not a nice. I don't like it as a word.
Yeah, but can you? That would be an awful existence to be known as smoochy.
Yes.
Christian, you are up, my man.
All right. Well, my number 2 album of 2017 is "A Crow Looked at Me" by Mount Eerie.
Wait, what?
There's not a lot that can be said about this record that hasn't already been said by us, or just kind of. I talk about this record a good amount. This is one of my favorite records of all time. This record has definitely marked me. I'm sure this for people who have listened to my music and people who just talk to me, it's really hard for me to ignore the fact that Phil Everham has had an enormous influence on my life. He was the first person that I listened to that I heard and I said, I can make music. I can I can do this, right? Because there was no limit to the ambition of Phil Everham's ideas. There was no cap. He had so little in terms of what he could do, and he did so much. He wrote my favorite records. Phil Everham is my favorite musician because of his spirit, his attitude, and obviously the quality of his music. Obviously, I think this just speaks to his character, that he's able to take something that is so horrible and he's able to subjugate it into something that can mean so much to so many people. I don't think that this is what he wanted. I don't think he made this record intending for people to listen to it and kind of learn a lot about themselves in the process. But that is what happened to me. You kind of experience the closest thing to grieving as you can without it actually being grieving. This record is probably the most emotionally powerful record that I have ever listened to in my entire life. It is so honest and heartbreaking in its honesty, but it touches on so many different themes that it is incredible. I could literally go on this album for a whole hour, just about the different themes, and how it feels bad that someone like that you would kind of say that it is a narrative, because you realize that this is actually happening to someone. This is just the gravity of the situation and how fucking awful that is. But it's true. There is a narrative to this album, and it's difficult. It's just difficult to listen to, but it is thoroughly compelling all the way through. That is why A Crow Looked at Me is my favorite record of 2017.
But dude, we're on number.
Awesome. Ethan.
That's your favorite record? Wait, aren't we on number 2 right now?
Yes, we
Ethan.
are. It's on. It's Christian's
He's gonna do a
number.
bit. Don't worry
He's
about
gonna
it.
do a bit. I know about the bit.
All right, my number's.
No.
No, it's his number 2.
Let's see. All right. So my second favorite record is my favorite rap record of 2017, and it's Open Mike Eagles' Brick Body Kids Still Daydream. I've been a fan of open mics for a couple of years now, and dark comedy, like Ryan was saying, I think it'll always be my favorite record just because of how much of an impact it has had on my taste in music. And I was coming to this record with a lot of bias because Open Mike is he is my favorite rapper for sure. And I was also kind of interested to see where he would go after his previous record, which I felt was kind of a disappointment with Paul White, Hella Personal Film Festival. But this record blew me absolutely out of the water. The themes of, like, it has political themes and it tackles things like gentrification and urbanization a lot, but it never really feels inherently political. He always puts this really human and personal spin on it, and he always tells these narratives of himself and people and like his neighborhood that kind of make you it's very rooted in human story, and I think that's what makes this such a compelling record. And I think it'll be, like Christian said, it's a very timeless story, and it just has some bops, you know. TLDR something, Uncle Joe's, No Sellin',
That feel when Doyle's was closed.
Brick Body Complex.
Brick
So
Body,
good.
yeah, it's just a great
Wait,
record.
what? It is Brick Body. Brick
Kids
Body
Daydream.
Complex.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
Brick Body Complex is the song.
Oh, okay, that's a really
It's,
good one too. It's just
yeah.
an incredibly solid record. The instrumentals kind of switched from being, in previous records they were always kind of more glitchy and almost video gamey to an extent, but with this one they felt more jazzy and organic and really sample based, and I loved it, and I will continue to love this record.
My number 2 record
Harry.
is Goths by the Mountain Goats. To me, this just screams, the Mountain Goats still have it. They made a whole phenomenal album without using an acoustic guitar once. The storytelling's amazing, and as a big goth guy, it's really a great album. The stories are beautiful, the instrumentation is phenomenal, and it's just exactly what you expect from Mountain Goats, but with an entirely different sound. That's that. Yeah.
That's it? Awesome. Alright, well, clocking in number 2 for me is pure comedy. I don't know what more I can say about it, except I mean, I'm such a huge fan of I Love You, Honey Bear. Probably one of my favorite albums of all time. And I was really scared for this album, to be honest, like in the beginning. But the singles came out, and I loved them more and more. And the first time listening, God, the part in Things That Would Have Been Helpful to Know Before the Revolution, where it explodes, is one of my favorite musical moments of all time. It's absolutely incredible. And The Memo is one of my favorite songs of the year. That song is awesome. And yeah, everybody's pretty much said what I want to say about this album. Yeah.
Okay, number 2 for me. Number 2 for me is Brockhampton's. I was just going to say like the Saturation trilogy.
If you had to
Um,
choose one, though.
If I had to choose one, it would be 3.
Same.
I think they stepped up the production on every album. It got smoother on every album, but then with 3 it got more grandiose as well. And I just think these guys have a lot of heart. They're really they're pushing the limits, and I think they're definitely. I mean, they've got places already, but I think they are still going places, and it seems like they're gonna just keep pushing. And I don't know, just they're forcing creativity from each other, it seems, and yeah, I think that's a really great dynamic that they have, and I expect big things from them, I guess. Yeah.
Alright.
So that's it for me.
All right.
Ryan Bussey.
My number 2 is Brockhampton with Saturation 1. Yeah, I think I'm with Ethan. I just have too many memories from the summer with this album. Bumping certain songs in the whip.
On the way to Wendell's.
On the way
Oh,
to
yeah.
Wendell's. I specifically recall Bump playing in the whip on the way to Wendell's.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And Star. That's such a good song.
Listening to it all the way through at my going away party was something I liked
Yeah.
very much.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just a record that was in the right place at the right time this summer for me, and in that way cemented itself as a record that will always be tied to a certain place in time. Yeah, for me. So I'll keep coming back to it based on that alone. But also, I don't think a group has. I know they had the album before, but I don't think a group has come out the gate on their breakthrough as coherently put together as Brockhampton in a long time.
Oh yeah.
And they just had such a hunger on that first record.
Like Odd Future never came together as a collective and made a solid album, and
Oh my
they've done
God,
it
no.
3 times this year.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't even think there were 3 Odd I tapes.
No, there were.
I thought there were
Odd
2.
Future tapes, Part 1, Part 2, and Radical.
Oh, I forgot
Oh,
about Radical.
me too.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and I'm glad I got to enjoy Brockhampton in the year before all of the, I think everybody will have heard of them in 2018, and
Yeah.
and the fan base will become a bit obnoxious, but I'm glad I got to watch them come up in 2017. It was something to see, and it was one of the, outside of the music, watching them come up was one of the best musical moments of 2017, like in the
Yeah.
industry and stuff.
Yep.
It was good to see.
All right, Christian, you gonna do it?
Yeah, Christian, you want everybody else to go first?
So my favorite album of the year is In the Airplane of the Sea. I think it's just funny how there's like a cheese guy on the album cover. The cheese guy profoundly affected me. Good night, everybody. My actual favorite album was Mount Airy.
Awesome.
So what's your 10th favorite album?
Christian.
Dude, I don't listen to music.
All right.
Whatever.
Cheese guy profoundly
Do
affected.
Owen and Harry want to go
I guess
first?
Why?
Because we all have the same one.
Owen might
Yeah.
also.
Wait, can I get on that conversation too?
Yeah,
I guess- I guess-
We're all gonna talk about
Owen
it.
might
the way
also
we
have the
could
same
do it
favorite.
is af-
What?
he
Owen
does
might
not.
also have the same
After
favorite. We
do
don't know
our
that.
Favorites, can I
He
do
does
this
not.
one
He does
for
not. We
no
have
reason?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
You tell us tomorrow. Yeah, thanks. Sounds good. Oh, I'm saying I have midterms
What did you say?
tomorrow. So after we all do our first album.
Your mic
I'm just
cut
gonna
out, dude.
monologue
What'd you
about
say?
Music in the year for a bit and go to bed. Oh, geez, sorry. Well, it'll make sense on my end. So whatever.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. All right,
well,
Harry.
My favorite album of the year was Birdie by Slaughter Beach Dog. So, it's the guy from Modern Baseball making a folk album. You know, for me, this album kind of feels like home. Makes me think of friends I have, makes me think of things I've done, and it just makes me happy. It makes me feel comfortable. It's also just kind of beautiful and musically interesting. And it's just a through and through folk and Americana album. It's got some great inspirations that you can hear in it. And it just sounds like, again, something that my dad listened to, but cooler. Yeah. It's just so good.
Damn.
I love this album. I'm going to say my favorite track off... My favorite track
What do you want to monologue about, Harry?
I don't know how to say this. I'm sorry, I got to pull up the album so I don't Give me a second. I'll look at the music real quick. Favorite tracks are Golden Green, Bad Beer, and Fish Fry.
Oh wait. Oh, I think I know what.
Oh yeah,
else
and
it is.
Friend Song. That's a good song. And yeah, that's me. Birdie by Slaughter Beach, Dog.
So what did you want to monologue
You're
about,
up,
Harry?
Owen.
I'm a bit confused.
Awesome. Owen.
All right, so I can't believe nobody's talked about this album anywhere. Yeah, like nobody did anything.
Yeah, you're the
No, it
only
made
person who
nobody's-
like really digs it, my guy.
Wait.
No one's honorable mentions or anything.
Oh,
meant to
I
put
know
in my
what it
honorable
is.
mentions.
But
Sorry, Owen.
my number one album is The Ooze by King Cruel, and I really like this album's generally quite slow, but I really like the spooky aesthetic that runs throughout. I love the post punk, jazz, and hip hop mix, and I wish King Cruel wasn't such a. It seems like he's such a homebody, and he only comes out of his cave every once in a while.
Oh,
I see
look.
him in a cave too, dude.
Look who's out of his cave.
Cave, it's King Girl.
But really, and seeing him live only solidified my my love for this album even more, because the few high energy tracks that there were really perfected live, and the band was so tight, and it really made me listen closely to the playing on the album, which is really good. It's and the production is really good. I love the way that like there's a little hum that comes in on the intro track, Biscuit Town, and like the light drums. It's just so tight, and then the emotion that runs through the album too. Mostly depression I'd say that's the primary emotion throughout the album, and like that is it really comes through so clearly. But then there's also a visceral energy on Emergency Blimp and Visual, and I think Dumb Surfer is definitely the best. Yeah, I'm gonna say definitely the best single of the year. With it's a jazzy, really spooky aesthetic. I just love this album.
You guys want to say it at
That's
the same
all I have
time?
to say.
All right. Well, here we go.
3.
It won't work
it
because
won't-
we're all separated.
Yeah. Ethan, you wanna
Mount Erie.
introduce?
Sure. So my record, and Jacob's record, and Ryan's record of the year, it was A Crow Looked at Me by Mount Erie. Who wants to start?
I don't think there's a lot else that I can say that Christian didn't hit on. But like this album, like I still can't quite put into words like why I come back to it, I guess, because like it's not fun to listen to, like, at all, but there's just something so genuine and heartbreaking about the way Phil talks about the things that happened to him and the situation that that I just love, and it's something that I love about music and his music in general.
I think his storytelling is really great. I think there's parts where you can see what he's describing actually like unfold in front of your eyes. And even though we weren't there, we've all been there before, in one sense or another, and I think that makes it, I think in that sense it's a relatable album, and it never fails to make me uncomfortable.
Very true.
I played Real Death on the radio as part of my best of 2017 set, and I was like, oh my lord, I'm making random people listening to the radio hear this, and yeah.
Yeah, I was going to play it on the radio and I decided not to.
Yeah.
It's because I don't know.
I kind of regret playing it on the radio.
Pardon?
I kind of regret playing it on the radio.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, I think. Yeah, I think he touches on a place we've all been, even if. Even if we haven't been in his exact situation, considering none of us have been married or anything, but yeah, and I think if there's an album where somebody was to say what's the most important record to listen to in 2017, I would say Pure Comedy is pretty close, but the way this record touches on a universal human experience that happens is makes it's so all encompassing for all people, whether like I feel like Father John Misty's is the most important to listen to, but it there's definitely a certain audience that would agree with it and a certain audience that wouldn't, but A Crow Looked at Me is a universal human experience that that no one from any path can like deny, and yeah, and so I think it's just a very important listen. So even if something like Saturation 1 was a hell of a lot more fun to come back to time and time and time again, A Crow Looked at Me stands as the most important release of 2017.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna add my last few 2 cents in here before we wrap this up. I think it's definitely not an easy record to listen to. It's a very uncomfortable listen, but I think I almost take solace and comfort in some of these songs like Toothpaste Trash or Seaweed, because like Ryan said, it tackles such universal themes, and the comfort lies not in that it happened, but that we can all relate to it in one way or another. Obviously the instrumentation is lush and beautiful, but the real what makes this record so poignant is obviously Phil's interpretation of this awful thing that's happened to him, and how deliberately he speaks on it. So I think this is going to be a record that is not forgotten in the future.
I will never
That's
forget
about
the
it.
first time I listened to that album. Ever.
It's not even the first time, it's just like the whole thing leaves such a mark.
Can I just speak to what Jacob said earlier about like he doesn't know why he keeps listening to it?
Yeah.
For me personally, why this is my favorite record of 2017 and why I listen to it pretty abundantly, all things considered how difficult it is to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
It's because sadness is such an important emotion that I feel like people don't realize the importance of feeling sad.
Totally.
Like it is this album makes me break down in tears every single time I listen to it, and that is not an exaggeration. There are just parts that I cannot get through and not help but just feel shaky and unnerved by what I've heard.
Yeah.
And it's so important that we listen to music like that
because that makes music more than just a one-note enjoyable thing. This album is difficult, but it is thoroughly compelling in every single capacity.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
It's so...
sorry.
I'm just not. I'm angry that this album exists for obvious reasons, but I am grateful that we can all learn from it and exercise in grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To speak on the comforting aspect of it, so I do have a lot of great musical memories from this year of listening to certain records and stuff. I listen to. I have to take the trolley to work in New Orleans, and that sets up a good dramatic stage. And so, I had to go in very early on a Saturday, and I remember listening to Mirror Reaper as the sun came up, riding on the trolley, listening to Tom Waits at near midnight on the way back on the trolley in New Orleans was a very good aesthetic match. But I haven't, felt the need to hear a record as much as one time when I was coming back to school from home. It was just hitting hard, and I needed comfort in having someone else feel that way, and just coming back at close to midnight and walking through an empty airport away from home and stuff, as Phil Elverum talks about, a feeling of loss, was definitely the most profound music matched with life moment I had in 2017. Yeah, I think
I agree.
I think I the main reason I listen to music is because it speaks so well to life in a way that nothing else I've ever been exposed to can, and a lot of the reasons why a lot of my favorite records are my favorite records is because they pair so well with moments in my life. I mean, you look at my favorite record, Turn on the Bright Lights. It's just coincidentally been playing during so many big moments in my life that I forever cannot. It will I don't think a record will ever have that much importance to me just because it's been there during so much. But I think Mount Eerie was the record of this year that brought out the most of that feeling. So.
All right.
All right, Ryan, you want to hit us with an outro?
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Lampcast podcast. This is rather lengthy. I hope Ethan cuts it down a little bit.
I'll try my best.
On the cutting room floor because my Audacity is clocking in at 1 hour and 44 minutes.
Same.
And Harry, what's your Audacity clocking in at?